Welcome into Extra Time. Thank you very much for all your tweets. Craig was so outraged today by Dan Gosling's comments, he came in early to do a boiling point. You weren't even scheduled to be in.
No, I'm scheduled to be in.
Yeah, but not at that time.
No, I rushed in to do it. First boiling point in 2 years.
You can tell it's not golf season.
Yeah. I can't tell you, there would have been no boiling point at 2 p.m. when I recorded it.
Exactly.
No, but I felt the need. I had to get that off my chest. I just couldn't.
Oh.
Right, you know.
Kick Shaka out the studio, right?
Oh, he was still in, chunting away. And his mate.
Frank Leboeuf is back from his Swiss vacation. Ooh. Back in Paris. You're missing the curtains, Frank.
Frank, the big question is, did you steal those curtains? The white ones?
I did. I'm going to make a fantastic African cabin, you know.
Frank, who do you think is more important for PSG, Neymar or Mbappe?
Oh, that's a question for a French guy between what do you like the most, the croissant or the pain au chocolat?
Pain au chocolat, that's not even a debate, is it?
No, there is a debate. Well, I would go for the French guy, you know, because I'm French, but it's hard, you know. It's choosing between your mother and your father in another hand, so very hard to say.
Oh. Who would you say? Who's more important this season?
Mbappe.
Mbappe?
Yeah, I would say the Frenchman. Yeah.
The Frenchman?
Yeah.
Where did you go, pain au chocolat or croissant?
Depends on what time of day it is.
What do you mean?
I don't like anything too sweet first thing in the morning.
You wouldn't have a pain au chocolat on the old breakfast buffet?
No.
No?
Croissant.
Croissant?
Oh, yeah, it's sweet.
Yeah?
Too early anymore.
I like a pain au croissant. Pain au chocolat.
I'm sure you do that.
Yeah, I do.
It's a pity that question wasn't
for Stevie.
Yeah, yesterday.
He's definitely never had one. Gab, Mbappe or Neymar, pain au chocolat or croissant?
Well, this season I think it's Neymar because there are other players who can do some of the things Mbappe does, not as well, but I don't think there's too many others who can do what Neymar does. Plus, Neymar's playing some of the best football of his career and has been for the last couple of months before his rib injury, which coincided with his birthday party. As for the other key question, I'm thinking Nutella, or better yet, pan di stelle, which is Nutella without the palm oil, on a croissant. That would do it.
Wow. What do you mean Nutella? Nutella's chocolate. That's the same thing. There's a pan of chocolate in there. It's just a bit darker chocolate.
No, it's not. It tastes completely different.
Well, a croissant with Nutella in it is different.
That somebody like you, who looks like a child, wouldn't know the difference. Do a blind taste test at home.
Stick with a Scottish breakfast. Full Scottish breakfast. Sausages, eggs.
What's a typical Trinidad breakfast, Shaq?
Anything. Well, we have a number of different culinary influences.
Well, enlighten us.
Right, yeah, why are you being weird about it? Why is it a secret?
Well, one thing that's very popular is what we call doubles, which is just a kind of flatbread with curried chana.
Okay.
Yes.
You'd have that for breakfast?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
Curry tasting thing in the morning?
Yeah. Yeah. It's good.
I'm just.
Yeah.
Why is Barca not bringing back Coutinho from his loan, Gab?
Because the transfer window's closed. You can't just go and get somebody else. You can, there's been some misconceptions there, even about their application. You know, outside of a transfer window, you can only sign players who are out of contract, and Coutinho is very much in contract, or you can apply for a special dispensation, which often isn't granted. The guy's got to be out at least X number of months and whatever else. But
why didn't they bring him back in the transfer window?
Well, that's a different issue. I would suspect they didn't bring him back because they didn't want him back because he's not having a great season, and you know they thought that Dembele could be fit. But weirdly, there'd be room for him, I suppose, at Barcelona now. But no, you can't just go and recall somebody from loan. This isn't England, and it's not the 1970s.
Oh, there you are. Should Barca not be in line to sign Jadon Sancho, considering their lack of attackers in the team?
I think there'll be
Yeah.
a few suitors.
Yeah, it's a strange question. No? Anyway.
Well,
Yeah, listen, come this summer, I think there'll be any number of clubs interested in Jadon Sancho. I'm sure Barca would be one, but they'd have to offload a few to do that, and I'm not sure that they can.
can managers, Craig, like Chris Wilde, Nuno, Nagelsmann be a success at clubs like Man United and Spurs, considering what they've accomplished with their current clubs? That's three very different managers, isn't it?
Yeah, I certainly think the last two could be. And that's not to go against Chris Wilder, because he's been absolutely amazing. But I think his style of managing and the way they play is slightly different, you know. And I think getting the type of work rate out of guys that have come up through the lower leagues is a different ball game to working with bigger egos and trying to do the same thing. So I don't think it would be a good fit for Chris Wilder, to be honest. I think his talents are in a different way. But I think the last two, Bayern Munich would take Nagelsmann in a minute, would they not? So, I mean...
Out of those three, Gab, which do you think we'll be looking back in 10 years' time as the most successful when it comes to a big club?
Oh, I think it's most likely Nagelsmann, because, I mean, he's already at a bigger club than the other two. And, you know, he's in his early 30s, so he's definitely somebody who's very much on an upward trajectory. Wilder, I think, is phenomenal. I think it's a shame that nobody in England seemed to realize, you know, what he could offer the game until now. And, you know, he's in his early 50s, and as Craig said, it's a tough move. I think Nuno, in some ways, that's an interesting one, because obviously his relationship with George Mendes, I think it makes certain clubs a little bit, certain of the top clubs, a little bit uneasy, because they would look at it and say, you know, it's one thing to do a lot of business with Mendes, it's another thing to bring in one of his guys who's so identified with him. And I think with Nuno as well, and this might be unfair, you know, obviously he's managed big clubs before at Porto and at Valencia, but there's no question in my mind that you know, he has the managerial chops to work at a higher level. But out of those three, it's definitely Nagelsmann.
He's got the best beard, definitely.
Frank.
No, Nuno's got a better beard than Frank.
Frank's trying to hide his beard. I think Frank's trying to hide his face, actually.
Do you think so? Look better. Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPNFC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.